Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. And welcome to Counsel of the Day with Shanrae. As you're coming in, please share. I do not own the rights to this song, but this is my theme song, Heal the World by Michael Jackson. I do not own the rights to this song. Welcome, welcome, welcome again to Counsel of the Day with Shanrae. Yes, and we are going to get started soon because there is a lot. Hi, Terrence Johns. Hi, how are you? There is a lot that I have to get in this evening with our little short time. Please let me know who you are. Hi, Superwoman. So good to see you this evening. Hello, hello. Okay, I am going to stop the music and we are going to go on and get started. So, actually, let me do something for a minute. I love this song, y'all. Hi, Doris Holland. How are you? So good to see you. I'm multitasking, so you see me looking away at my notes. As you come in, please share. Share. You can like it if you want to, but please share as we come in. As we come in. Give me one moment, please. I'm multitasking, so you see me looking away at my notes. Alrighty then, I'm going to stop this. And good evening again. So good to see you, Superwoman. If you all have any life experience or if you have any insights, excuse me, I'm going to put these on. I forgot to put these on before I came on here. Any insights that you all want to share, let me know and I will bring you in on this. I love, iron sharpening iron. So I want to go on and read my disclaimer. Pardon me, I am putting my earrings in my ear. So, but I want to go on and read my disclaimer as we get started because there's a lot that we have to get in tonight on this topic, the family unit, marriage, and a baby. So let me start with my disclaimer. And it says, please be aware that due to the nature of the technology that we are using. Hi, Jacqueline. How are you? There can be no assurance of confidentiality when using this online service. It should also be noted that due to changes in policies. Hi, Sister Shirley. How are you? All replies are to be used as advisory and informational only and will not constitute an official determination. Hi, Audrey. How are you? Information provided by myself or any other spiritual counselor that comes on, a pastor or someone with life experience, are subject to the limitations of current and available material. But the final responsibility for successfully achieving a goal rests with you, the individual. Information online is designed, thank you, Sister Shirley, is designed to be helpful. However, this information changes frequently. It is recommended that you as the individual will consult another physician if need be, specialist and or another religious leader to aid in your overall behavioral wellness. And we are going to get started because there's a whole lot. I'm so glad to hear that, Audrey. Hello, Marcella. How are you? There is a lot that we have to get in tonight. And we are continuing from on Tuesday night about marriage and a baby. So what I'm going to do, I'm sorry, when you see me moving, I'm multitasking. I'm going to start with our scripture for this week, or actually it's been a scripture for the month. Hi, Michael Grace. How are you? So good to see you. Hi, Marcella. All right. So our scripture that we've had basically for the entire month is Matthew 19 verses 5 and 6. I am a Christian counselor. My degrees are in psychology. I'm educated in this. I have experience in counseling, life coaching, all of the above. And so that's what merits me to be able to do this. Along with Christian qualifications, I am a licensed minister as well. So I offer Christian counsel along with daily application. All right, so we're going to go on with our scripture, which is Matthew chapter 19 verses 5 through 6. And said, I'm coming from the English Standard Version. So, and said, therefore, that a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but they are one flesh. So what therefore God has joined together, let no man separate. And those of us that have ever attended a wedding, have been married, have been in a wedding, we know that that is the final thing before you may now salute or you may now kiss your bride. That whatever that God joins together, let no man put us under. All right. I believe in giving definitions of the topics that I'm talking on. So I am going to reiterate the definition of a parent from the Merriam-Webster's dictionary. And it says, one that begets or brings forth offspring. And the example is you just became parents of twins. Or a person who brings up and cares for another as a foster parent or, a guardian. So that is the Merriam-Webster's dictionary version of a parent. So we're going to move it along because I got a lot to get in tonight. And I want y'all know, y'all talk to me. Talk to me if there's anything that you want to talk about, anything that you want to expound on. I love to hear life experiences. I strongly believe that iron sharpens iron. So we're going to start with who comes first, the kids or the marriage? That's a good question. Who comes first? Thank you. The kids or the marriage? I had such a valiant gentleman. My oldest grown folk bought me a cup of tea, y'all. So thank you so much. Who comes first? The kids or the marriage? Now, Superwoman posed a very, very good question on Tuesday night about does jealousy run? Audrey said the marriage. That's right. That's right. Okay. Terrence Johnson said marriages. You're right. You're right. Superwoman said on Tuesday night, well, there's a lot of jealousy that runs between parents and marriage. There's a lot of parents that are jealous of the children and the babies and all of that. And that is so true. We actually talked about that. Good evening, Queen. We talked about that on Tuesday night. And that is something that happens quite frequently. But who comes first, the kids or the marriage? So I'm going to be abbreviating tonight because, again, we have a lot of different subtopics that we're going to go over. So, but I'm going to start with this one. Who comes first, the kids or the marriage? So making your kids the centerpiece is never a good idea. Never a good idea. All right. Making the kids the centerpiece of your life may seem like a good idea, but generally it is not. Hello, Robert. Besides the more obvious risks and dangers such as overprotection, indulgence, and other practices that can be led to a sense of entitlement and prolonged dependency. So making your children's happiness your highest priority can result in an unanticipated and undesired consequences. So the promotion of the idea that marriage, that's right, Sister Shirley, marriage should always come first. Okay, so the promotion of the idea that marriage requires the sacrifice of one's personal needs and desires in order to fulfill the higher moral imperative of responsible child rearing is that's wrong. Your children, they don't come before your marriage. So there's no question that some degree of sacrifice is required. We do sacrifice sometime, but we shouldn't sacrifice it all of our time. That's right, Sister Shirley. But the real question for parents is always, where is the line between my responsibility to my children and my responsibility to my spouse and my responsibility to myself? So there are three things here that has been highlighted. I'm going to say this again. This is a very primary question that's always running through, with the family, let me ask it again. Where is the line between my responsibility to my children Where's the line between my responsibility between my spouse, and where's the line that's drawn between my responsibility even to my own personal self? So when one or both parents make their children's happiness a higher priority than their health or the health of their marriage, they run the risk of neglecting the needs of their marriage. And in doing so, fostering feelings of resentment, neglect, resignation, and alienation in themselves and each other. So these are the risks that you run between, and I'm gonna say it again. You're gonna run the risk of bringing in resentment, neglect, resignation, and alienation into your marriage by making your children your world. So as most parents know, children sense much more of their parents' moods, feelings, and attitudes than they ever outwardly express. So unhappy and unfulfilled parents can lead their kids to conclude that marriage makes people unhappy. Now, I'm going to pause here. How many people, honestly, grew up in a good Christian, dysfunctional home? And I'm just being honest. Our parents, if they were Christian, they know how to go in the church, around church people, and do a great united front. They can shout down the church, roll around the pews. If you have pastors and evangelists and ministers as your parents, they can get up and tell you what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and why you should do it, but they can't live it. And you grow, and if you're the one that grew up under that, you're the one that's looking like, oh my God, if these people only knew, if they only knew what we know, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to keep moving on. But as Christian believers, we have to show the light and love of God in every area of our lives. If you are married, then people need to see God in your marriage. Love, the love of each other, because marriage is really what reflects that's the human and the natural form of God's love for us. Okay, please don't take that out of context, guys, because we know how intimate we are as husbands and wives. But there is an intimacy between God and man that no man can, that's that void that the Lord, that God fills within us. So that's that intimacy, that love that even man can't feel. But when we're joined as husband and wife, there should be an intimacy, there should be a closeness that nobody can come in and penetrate, that they're supposed to let no man put us under. And we're going to really hit on this next week, but I'm going to keep moving. So it's natural and beneficial for parents to make their children's well-being a high priority. It is. But it's better to err by caring, too much than not enough. Okay? It's better to care more for your kids than not care at all. But still making the needs of your marriage subordinate to the needs of the children can, as many have discovered the hard way, lead to unexpected consequences. And so I'm going to keep moving. I'm skipping down because we got a lot to go through. So more than anything else, we can do for our children the example of a happy marriage. The best thing we can do for our children is to show a happy marriage in front of them. And marriage supports and encourages the possibility of creating such a relationship, a good relationship in their lives too. So the time to experience the true blessing of marriage is not after the kids leave home. It's never too early or too late to put your marriage first. So it doesn't matter at what point in your marriage, if you have teenagers at this time, it's okay to show them that, guess what? You can change for the better. They can see that love rekindled between you and your spouse. It's never too late. My kids is grown. They're grown right now. We got 3 grown folk, but they starting to see something a little bit different in our marriage between the two of us too, that things change and things change for the better. All right, now I'm going to switch over to this. This is a very sensitive topic, and please remember that whatever I talk about, it is not aimed at anybody specifically, but this I have to teach on different things. Show affection. That's right, Superwoman. Showing affection. Oh my gosh, to me that is such great medicine. When the children, whether no matter what age they are, when they see the affection between the parents. Condi says, yes, we are there. We are their greatest examples. Yes, we are. I mean, that's all. Think about where we came from. All we knew is our foundation, is our primary. And a lot of times, most people spend their adult lives trying to fix whatever foundation. If they came from a dysfunctional foundation, then they're trying to, and they start reflecting that same dysfunction as adults. And if they want something better, a lot of times it takes them time to fix and to learn how to function in a more stable mannerism. And it takes some time, it takes some years to retrain your brain on how to function rather than to continue the pattern of dysfunction. So you're right, we are our children's greatest examples, and I'm going to get to that too. I want to talk right now very briefly about how to take care of your marriage when you have a child with special needs. And I have to say this because this goes all along with child rearing, because there's different things that parents experience, or you see close friends experience or family members. But I want to get on this really quickly. And I'm going to move through this very quickly. So it says, there are more difficulties in terms of lack of time and financial demands. And there is certainly more stress. But just because a marriage is more difficult does not mean that it can't become as strong or even stronger. So people tend to equate more difficult with worse. Rather than better. So yes, there are more difficulties when you're dealing with a child with special needs, but there's an arc to learning how to have a good marriage under these circumstances. So if you learn to adjust and adapt, your marriage can become a lot stronger. So it is just as possible to have a thriving marriage despite these difficulties. The researcher here, Marshak, she talks about couples, how they can maintain a stronger marriage when they have a child with special needs. And here are some some suggestions that can help. And if you apply these married couples do apply these suggestions to their lives. So number one, and again, I'm hitting on right now how to take care of your marriage when you have a child with special needs. So number one says, do not just become parent partners. So when parents only connect, when their only connection to each other is through or about that child, it can cause problems. So this is through research now. Hi, Benjamin. Okay. All righty then. I see what you're saying, Queen. The researcher encourages couples to spend 20 to 30 minutes each day connecting with each other, with no talk of the children allowed. So I'm going to say this again. This is number one. This is suggestion number one, that for you as a husband and wife, make it a habit to spend 20 to 30 minutes each day connecting with your spouse. Don't talk about the children. That child. Don't talk about their needs. Talk y'all to engage about each other. Maybe the things that y'all want to do. Or what you plan to do, and make sure whatever you plan to do it. And this helps you remember the person that you fell in love with. Number two says to embrace your differences with your partner. Parents may have different ideas. Okay, I see what you're saying, Queen. Parents may have different ideas about what their expectations should be for their child, or the best course of treatment. One parent may grieve the child's diagnosis, while the other parent may not. But it is important to not just tolerate, but to embrace your partner's point of view. The researcher says that when you really try to appreciate your partner's perspective, instead of insisting that they think like you, it can strengthen your relationship. Now, again, these are researched suggestions here. This is not just somebody just saying this. This is researched, and so it'll work if you work it. That's all I have to say. Number 3. Be proactive when marital resentments build up, whether it's asking your partner to pitch in more with the household chores or putting them in charge of wrangling with your insurance company. Ask your partner for help more sooner than later. And if you wait until you're angry, resentment is always building up. It will build up. Number 4, let's get creative when it comes to your romance. Date nights are great. And this is all researched again, but they may not be an option for some parents with kids with disabilities. So look for creative ways to be romantic at home, like I talked about on Tuesday night. When my children were growing up, my husband and I did not have a lot of money, so we had to get creative. So a lot of times, if we did something together, sometimes I would have to make picnics, get some sandwich meat, make us some sandwiches. We go and drive to the park or go, because we didn't have a lot of money, but we would drive somewhere close to the house, maybe to a park, sit in the parking lot, sit there and eat and listen to music and talk. If they have some free events going on in our community, we would go. Maybe we would save up a little bit more money, go buy a hot dog or something for us and the children, sit and watch the children play. And we will sit down or talk or walk while we do. There's different ways that you can do date night. Okay? So look for creative ways to be romantic at home. Or make use of the time when the kids are in school or something like that. Number 5 says, appreciate each other's efforts. Parents may need to rethink their roles so that caring for this child is not, or these children are not exclusively one person's responsibility. I am going to pause right here. Listen, if you know someone that is in this situation, if you have experienced this, or if you are experiencing this now, if you have family members that love you all and they are and they want to be a part if they are your support system, please utilize your family. And I don't mean use them, but what I'm saying is allow your family to love on your children as well. You know what I'm saying? They understand what's going on. So if the grandparents want to spend a couple of hours with the children, let them do it. And you all go and get a breathe. Go breathe. If you have siblings, if the children have godparents, if you had, like us, because we moved away from our family, so our church family became our God-given family. Our former pastor, I used to love when he did this. And I would say, oh my God, he would tell us, Papa's taking the children home with us tonight. And I said, but I don't have no clothes. So what? We got a washing machine? I was like, but I could just bring you some clothes. You and your husband, you and Dupree leave. Y'all go home. We're taking the children. When I say I thank God for they papa, who was actually our pastor at the time, he would just up and say, I'm taking the children. Papa's taking the children. And I mean, go and just spoil them. They would go out to eat after church. He would do this after church on a Sunday night. They would go take them to a local restaurant. They would wash the kids' clothes or whatever, because they kids were the same age as our children. They sit there, our baby would come home with her nails painted. I mean, everything. I love that. So if you have a village, if you have people that love you all and they want to help be your support system, please don't shun that. Don't shun that. This will help you in your marriage and your family. So I did pause there. Let me keep it moving. So parents may need to rethink their roles so that caring for this child is not exclusively one person or just their responsibility. Couples who are raising kids with disabilities often feel depleted or put upon. And when one parent, or if just the two of them are doing it all of the caregiving or everything like that, sharing this responsibility and giving credit for effort can help make you feel more like a team. Again, so I'm moving quickly. I want someone to write this down Good evening, Tanita. Can someone please write this down? There is a book that said it's called Married with Special Needs Children, a couple's guide to keeping connected. I have not graduated yet with typing and writing, so I need someone to write this for me. This is the book. The book is called Married with Special Needs Children. A couple's guide to keeping connected. I'm gonna say this again. The book that is referred for anyone, for a parent that you know, so if you know someone that this book can help. The book is called Married with Special Needs Children, a couple's guide to keeping connected. And the author is Laura Marshak. Laura, Laura. Last name is Marshak, Marshak. Laura Marshak. She is the author of the co-author of a book called Married with Special Needs Children, a couple's guide to keeping connected. So now I'm going to move on to creating boundaries with your adult children. Woo! How many on here have adult children? I'm waving my hand. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. They ain't put no sweetener in that. Okay, excuse me. Okay. Creating boundaries with your adult children. I know a few of y'all on here that have adult children like me. Tanita waved her hand. If I can't say a word, then I just wave my hand. That's all. Grown. Tanita said grown. Audrey, you had grown kids. Okay. All right, Queen. All righty then. Creating boundaries with your adult children. I'm going to go over this briefly because our time is almost up. So obviously every family circumstances are different, which every family circumstances are unique. They may be similar, but there are unique things that happen in there. Yet, let's see. So the psychologist who's talking about this right now says, give a person a fish and they will have dinner, but teach them how to fish and they will never go hungry. So we know that there are Bible verses. What did Superwoman say? Girl, I've got grown Greg. Superwoman, you look good though. You look good. We need 30 more minutes for that subject. I am going to spend some time tonight, Tanita, with this one. I'm going to give a little bit more time because this is something that I know. This is the time of life that I'm going through along with a lot of you all. Well, we have grown folk. So there's some things where everybody, not just the grown folk are transitioning, but we are too as parents and as married couples. So creating boundaries with your adult children. All righty then. We know that the Bible talks about if you teach someone how to fish, they will never go hungry. Give them a fish and they will have dinner for that day. But if you teach them how to fish, they'll never go hungry. And that is our job to do that. Tanita said that is correct. I'm telling you. So whether you have a 35-year-old daughter who keeps asking for money while falsely claiming that they will pay you back, or a 25-year-old son who just can't keep a job, adult children who behave immaturely can be stressful. Okay, so there's been a lot of cases, a lot of sad stories that have longitudinally research on this. Tanita's laughing. But it can be very challenging for us parents. Even when we have to start setting limits with our adult children who have become overly dependent. The parents often feel drained and emotionally depleted. They want their grown folk, that's what I call my grown folk, to be happy on their own. But yet, they live in fear of not doing enough to help their children get there. Audrey said, or a 21-year-old that don't want to get a job. Oh, Audrey, please get your pen and paper out. We about to give some helpful advice right now. Because that's not fair. That 21-year-old has to has to work. And I know as parents, we don't want to throw our children out. We don't want to do that. We don't want to put them on the street, because that's drastic measures. But I've said that there is a such thing as parent abuse too. She said, no, it's not. Audrey got to give that tough love. Okay, Audrey. All right, people. All right, they talking, but tough love a lot of times. How many of y'all saw the movie Night School with Tiffany Haddish and well, he's such a nut. Kevin Hart. Did y'all see how what she had to do in order to get him to learn? That was tough what she did, but a lot of time, but it was true. Her methods are very, very, very true. What the methods that she used. So we're gonna keep it moving. Good evening, everyone that's coming in tonight. So, in some cases, these adult children may have significant mental health issues, including addictions, which need to be addressed, which they do, because addictions are considered mental health issues, and they need to understand what you hear me saying what our young adults have to learn is how to treat whatever the issues that they're having outside of any type of addiction or anger or sexual dependency. They have to learn how to handle life's uncertainties or life's uncertainties without self-destructing. So we're going to move on with this. So at the same time, mental health treatment does not have to be mutually exclusive from the adult child, contributing to their recovery in any way that they can. Again, I'm going to say this in layman's terms. Let me read it so I can make sure I'm saying this right. So if our grown children are experiencing anything like this, anger management issues, addictions, alcohol abuse, sexual addiction, any type like that, our children, our grown folk are not excluded in trying to find a way for them to recover. Okay, y'all got that, right? All right. So too many times, however, this researcher has seen parents overly rescuing their children from their problems. My son has PTSD. Yeah, that's something new that they diagnose most of these kids with, post-traumatic syndromes. That's what they're doing all through school as a teacher. That is the newest thing. Oh, it's not their fault. They can't control their actions. They've been diagnosed with PTSD. That's the newest thing that it used to be years ago, ADHD, ADD. I'm not saying that it's not true, but what I'm saying is, let me pause right here. And I need to see a show of wave of hands. How many of us grew up in church where we saw maybe one or two children who were born with severe cognitive disabilities, but we would see them coming with either their parents or their grandparents to church? When we saw these, because a lot of times they were our age or a little bit younger as we were growing up, we didn't see them acting out in church. We didn't see the parents making excuses for them. We didn't see the parents isolating them. We didn't see the parents or the grandparents do anything. We watched these children sit in church for hours at a time. They were more behaved than anybody else's children. Well-dressed, well-mannered. They actually participated in church. They would get up and clap their hands and all of this. And you know what? There were no excuses made for them. Not from the doctors, not from anything. And because their parents foundationally raised them with certain type of boundaries, with certain types of boundaries. Okay? And so now, all of a sudden, with this new parenting methods and nobody is responsible for their behavior, this is why I believe that a lot of things are out of control. I'm going to give you another example. I had two children that were diagnosed with slight ADD, not ADHD, attention deficit disorder, which is a small underdevelopment of the frontal lobe, and it's a memory thing. So we needed to learn how to get everything that they learned past their short memory. Your short memory is only 20 minutes long. And then after 20 minutes, it bumps over to your long-term memory. But with ADD, not ADHD, ADHD is that hypertensive. My children didn't have that. They had ADD, which they had to get past, whatever they learned had to get past that short-term memory time span, that 20-minute time span, so it can bump over to the long-term memory. But I remember taking the children to their doctor quarterly growing up. And I remember their doctor saying to me, he called me into the office. He said, Miss Owens, he said, I need to ask you a question. And I said, yes, sir. He said, why are your children so well behaved? And I said, excuse me? He said, why are your children so well behaved? Let me tell you something. Their primary doctor refused to believe that there was anything. They just didn't believe that I was seeing some difficulties with my children because of how well mannered they were. So it took them a while for them to give me a referral for them to go get tested. But when they did, now their specialty doctor, after a while, it's about after a year, he asked me, "Can I ask you something? Why are your children so well behaved?" And I said, "Sir, I don't know what you're talking about." He said, "Your children are so well-mannered. What do you do?" I said, "You really want to know?" He said, "Yes." I said, "I discipline them." I said, if they're having temper tantrums, if they're acting out, they get disciplined. They get their timeouts. They get toys taken from them. I said, they get disciplined. And so they have to understand, you having a temper tantrum is not the answer for this. We're going to get past this, and we're going to get the answer to whatever. They had to learn how to express themselves, what they're feeling at the time, that frustration. You have to learn how to use your words. So we can figure out how we can ease all of this frustration here. I don't understand. Okay, so we're going to find a way for you to understand what you're reading. And so once I told him that, he said, I am going to start prescribing to all of my parents that they start disciplining their children. And I said, "Sir?" He said, "Oh, yes. I'm getting ready to start prescribing to these parents that they have to incorporate discipline." So I'm here to tell you, these doctors can tell you this and they can tell you that, and I'm not saying that it's not true. But what I'm saying is, our foundational teachings, that's what stands. That's what stands. And we are going to get over this here hump of whatever's going on. We're going to help our grown folk understand these different changes and transitions that they're experiencing in their lives, and how to get over these humps in their lives without self-destructing. This is why the Lord told me to do this right here. So I'm going to keep going. So, and that we're not to overcome for them. They have to learn how to overcome for themselves. So I'm going to move on. So too many times, however, they have seen parents overly rescuing their children from their problems. And while it may feel good for parents to do this, the implicit or even explicit message to these children are, you're not competent enough to make your own decisions. Thank you, Queen. She says, say that. Okay, so parents in this situation can help themselves to be mindful of enabling their children or child by carefully considering these following questions. So let's start with this. Question number 1. Does your child now act entitled to and demand things you once enjoyed giving them? Car privileges, gifts, perks at home, or rent money. Whew. Number 2, does it feel like you're living from crisis to crisis with your adult child? Good Lord. If you ain't got to say a word, just wave your hand. Just wave your hand. You don't have to say a word. Number 3, Do you sacrifice too much to meet your adult child's needs? Number 4, are you afraid of hurting your child, your grown child? I'm talking about grown children now. Number 6, are you feeling burdened, used, resentful, or burnt out? All right. So encourage them to live in their own skin. That's also in the game, okay? Encourage them to live in their own skin. So as children either graduate or they quit school, they need to increasingly have skin in this game and strive towards being self-sufficient. Let me turn this off because we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. I'm almost finished. And strive to be self-sufficient. This does not mean parents should abruptly put their adult children on the street. But at the same time, these adult children need to own their own goals and plans to become self-reliant or self-sufficient. So sometimes crises do occur that send children back home, such as bad breakups, problem in college, or health issues. This is acceptable as long as there is a plan in place for that adult child to become independent at some point. Try not to be adversarial as you encourage your child to become more independent. The goal is to be supportive and understanding with a collaborative mindset. Be calm, be firm, and don't be controlling in your demeanor as you express these guiding expectations, okay, that I'm getting ready to give to motivate your adult children toward healthy independence. Now, I'm going to say this. If you've done all these things already, then tough love is it. You have to put them out. And we're all there together. So number 1, encourage working children to contribute their part of their pay for their room and board. I'm there. I'm on a plan with my grown folk, and they're on schedule where after they finish college, they're allowed to live here for a little bit longer, but they are paying rent. They have to pay a portion of rent and different things like that and contribute to the home. And I want them to save their money. Their father and I want them to save enough money so they can get up enough down pay when they leave here to either buy a home or buy a condo. But if they don't fulfill their end of the bargain, then our end of the bargain is not being fulfilled. So we've had some transitions there where one has not fulfilled or whatever. So we're on the next move with that. Okay? But they're all working and they all have to contribute. So that's 1. Number 2, don't indiscriminately give them money. Providing spending money should be contingent on children's efforts towards their independence. I've been there too. Number 3, develop a response that you can offer in the event that you are caught off guard. Agree that you won't give an answer for certain time periods, whether it be the next morning or at least 24 hours later. Okay? For example, the next time you get an urgent call that says, I need money from your grown children, respond to them by saying, I have to talk it over with your father. That's my thing right there. Hold on, I got to talk to your dad. And then, he'll get back to you. Or I have to get back to you, and tell them when you're going to get back to them. And please get back to them when you say you are going to do that. And then this will allow you time to consider it and give you a chance to think and talk about it beforehand. So it also show that you are remaining steady in your course while presenting a united front. Number 4, agree on a time limit on how long children can remain in your home. That's something I talked about a little bit earlier. Number 5, if you can afford it, offer to help pay starting cost of it. I don't agree with that. I'm not, offering to start off paying for their rent and stuff. I don't agree with that. But I'm not telling you for you not to do it, but I'm going to say it. Number 5 says that if you can afford it, offer to help pay starting cost of rent on an apartment for your child. I just don't agree with it. But if that's something that'll work for you all, then do it. Number 6, make an agreement for decreasing contributions to rent until the child is fully responsible. That can work too. Number 7, remember that you always have the right to say, I changed my mind about a previous promise. Number 8, set limits on how much time you're going to spend helping your grown child resolve their crises. And then encourage the child to problem solve themselves by asking, what are your ideas? Number 9, remember that you are not in a popularity contest. Be prepared for your child to reject you. He or she will most likely come around later on. That's going to happen. Number 10, attend support groups if your child has a substance abuse or emotional problem. Only give spending money to an adult child consistently involved in treatment. All right. I'm going to say this really quickly. I'm going to talk about this, and let's see. I'm going to end with this because let me go back. With you not being in a popularity contest, and you will have to prepare for your child or your children to start rejecting you, but they will come around later on. This is what I was going to end with, the distance in your relationship with your grown children, because sometimes that does happen. I've even experienced that, how there's a distance that will happen because of you're no longer whatever, convenient for this. But let me give, if anyone is experiencing distance in their relationship with their grown children, let me give 3 things really quickly. And then I'm going to go up and I'm going to talk in depth about this very quickly because our time really has gone on. So we talked about establishing boundaries. Now, this is from a Christian standpoint. To truly bless our children, we respect not only their independence, but we also let them manage the consequences that come from their own choices. So I'm talking about how we bless our children, okay? So, of course, our prayers can always beg God for the best for them, but our response to them should not be one of picking up the pieces all of the time for them. Thank you, Miss Betty. Additionally, we should tread lightly when offering advice that our children haven't asked for. We shouldn't tell them where to spend their money, to whom and when they should marry, or whether they should attend church or whether to have children. All right, adjusting our expectations. We bless our children when we let them go, but we still stay connected with them. So by communicating clear expectations, parents and children can learn new relationship patterns that don't revert back to early parent-child interactions. To do this, parents and adult children need to take time to define their expectations of each other so their relationships can be healthy and respectful. And number 3, affirming and respecting choices. Parents bless their grown children when they accept the fact that their children are now responsible for their own decisions. Parents can no longer prescribe the course of their children's lives, nor manage the events and experiences that come their way. So it's not easy with all of us transitioning, with our grown child or children. But you're longing for warm, close, emotionally safe relationship with your children. That is completely understandable. God designed us as parents to feel this way about our children. And when the relationship doesn't turn out as we've hoped and expected, it's only natural that we are grieved as parents. So at the same time, appropriate boundaries are an absolute necessity in relationships with our children. Hi, Shaye. Our grown children. Kim, hi, Shanrae. I hope your family had a great day. Thank you, Kim. We did, and I hope that you all did too. Let me keep going. Especially when our adult children have, I'm going to keep moving. Some of them are married. So the challenge that we face is to respect these boundaries while remaining available and assuring that our children, the constancy or the consistency of our love. Let me see what this says. Queen says, thank you, Jesus, for the gifts you have given. Oh, thank you, Queen. So it is vital to add these boundaries in place, not merely for our children's sake, but for our own protection as well. Parents in our position often blame ourselves. I want y'all to listen closely, and then I'm going to end, because this is something that some of us are in right now. All right. Parents who have grown children, a lot of times we blame ourselves and assume full responsibility for any feelings of tension or estrangement that may surface in the interactions with our adult children. This is not necessarily fair or accurate, and you need to be careful then to avoid reacting. What did Kim say? Yes, we had a good time. Thank you. We have to avoid reacting out of fear or false guilt. So respect the boundaries, and as far as possible, learn to relax and to take refuge on our side of the fence as parents. Express your love and offer your help as opportunities arise if they ask. Extend invitations on appropriate occasions. Cover your children and cover their spouses if they're married with generous amounts of prayer, and ask God's wisdom and comfort in these moments when we feel overwhelmed or confused as parents. But don't push or plead or whine. That will only make matters worse. Remember, nobody is perfect, guys. Nobody, every parent has made mistakes, or we still make mistakes. And you may have committed all kinds of errors and blunders while we were raising them, but that's not what makes our children who they are today. Audrey said, "Thank you very much for this teaching. I wanted to know where I can go now with him." Oh, thank you, Lord. So, okay, so our children, by their own choices, define their own choices, not by our shortcomings. God bless you. God bless you too, Mikhail. Our grown children define their own choices by, they make their own decisions, not by the shortcomings of us. This is particularly true in the case, let me keep going. So you have to remind yourself that there's nothing that you can do to change that side of the equation. We can't, unfortunately, we can't go back and change the past, but we can start right now and live better. Okay? So don't blame yourself. Stop blaming yourself for the decisions of other autonomous adults or our grown folk. So if love has been your guide throughout your parenting process, and the very tone of your inquiry leads to us to suppose that that this is the case, then cut yourself some slack and leave this situation in the Lord's hands. And if you go around carrying a burden of false guilt, that will not only hinder you from reflecting God's love in the most effective way, but it's going to hinder your family. So again, guilt. Please don't walk in guilt, parents. We're only human. All we can do is apologize for the things that maybe the choices we didn't make, the best choices we made while we was raising them. And I think the greatest gift, I don't want to say think, I know the greatest gift that we can give our adult children is the gift of that they see wholeness, completeness, and healing in us. We're walking in the love of Christ and in the stability of Christ and the love of Christ. So with that being said, please someone write this down, because our time is far gone. This is called the Hope Marriage Hotline. Now, this hotline not only helps just marriages, but families too. So again, this is the Hope, someone write this down, Hope Marriage Hotline. Okay, there are licensed counselors that are available from 7 a.m. until 11 p.m. The telephone number is 855-395-HOPE. I'm going to say that again. The telephone number is 855-395-HOPE. And this is the Hope Marriage Hotline, but it's marriage and family. So if any of you all feel like that you don't feel comfortable talking to someone that you know, and if you want great advice from licensed therapists, this is the place to call. They have counselors available from 7 a.m. until 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I hope someone wrote this down, the Hope Marriage/Family Hotline. The number is 855-395-HOPE. And I will see you all. Thank you, Shaye. I will see you all next Tuesday as I end with my theme song, Heal the World. That's what we're called to do by living a stable, loving, healthy life. Until next week, the family unit will be talking about marriage and the change of life. God bless you all. God bless you all, and good night.